And what's funny is because like when you first go into prison, especially like if you're young, like I went to prison my first time when I was 18. So of course, like I grew up in juvenile detention centers and juvenile programs. So I was already institutionalized. I already like understood, the lifestyle and the manipulation and the lies, the violence. I was already used to the entirety of the culture of being incarcerated. So just like at JIT camp, juvenile programs, of course, man, all them kids was lying, even worse back then. So it was nothing new to me. But I think when I went to prison the first time at 18, it's like a different degree of lying. You know what I mean? Like, because these are guys who've been in prison for like 20 years, 30 years. Man, some people, bro, like sadly live like a delusion life to where they have embedded their psyche, like their mind, their mental, into these crazy, far-fetched, false realities that they never lived. So a lot of these people, man, in prison have become like mastermind liars. I'm talking about like great at lying. So I remember, I think my first bid, man, like obviously, some people are just like blatantly obvious. You could tell they're capping. But I think a lot of times, man, like I would find out from like other people I knew on the pound, you know what I mean, who would tell me like, bro, don't believe a word dude says, man. Like dude's like full of cap, man. And I was like kind of like taken back by it, like, dang, like everything he was saying like sounded really convincing. You know what I mean? I really like thought who he was and who he portrayed to be. You know what I mean? And like all the scenarios that he was giving me about being some big drug dealer on the street or wherever he's from, and like, they're telling me all these lies, and then come to find out dude got like a crazy sex case and been in prison for like 15 years. And he's just used to lying. And I think probably for that guy that I'm using you specifically as an example, probably as like a survival tactic. So he doesn't have to wear the shame of his sex crime or be targeted as prey or whatever. But the whole point that I'm getting at is, man, the majority, I wouldn't say the majority, but there's a lot of people in prison, man. All they do is lie. I mean, these are like freaking criminals. And I say that as a criminal myself and as a fellow convict. I'm not trying to like degrade nobody, but man, like, yo, like in the chain game, bro, like it's the best of the best con artists, manipulators, liars, anything you can think of, man. I done seen it all. And I done heard it all too when it comes to these crazy, far-fetched stories and lies that these people will be telling and that they sell. And people believe, and even myself, a lot of times, man, especially when I was younger, in my first bid, man, like it was kind of like hard to navigate and to weave through all the crazy war stories, man. And I remember, I think when I began